Hey, Chad. When you look at the pass game, the progression it's had since you guys have been back at camp, um, how do you kind of rank it given the late start, no off-season program? Are you guys going to be ready for week one with what you need to do?
Yeah, we've been real pleased with the players and the way they've embraced some of the challenges that we've had in relation to not having as much time as we normally do in a year. So what we've really worked on now is the consistency and the overall details that are involved in the pass game. And that's something that I think is a work in progress. I think it will be a work in progress. But I think the players have worked really hard to try to get it to where we want it, which is at a high level, and to be successful in the pass game. It's going to require us to be dependable at each position, to be as detailed as we can, and to do our job on each play. And I think that's what we've tried to do when we've been on the field here.
Great. Our next question will go to Nate Ulrich.
Hey, Coach. Recently, Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield said their chemistry is going to be a lot better than last year. I was just wondering, what is your view of their, on-field, chemistry, being on the same page? Where do you see them at with that evolution, and what do you think of how they've been connecting?
Yeah, I think that, although we didn't have the opportunity to be on the field in the spring, those guys worked really hard with the quarterback. And I think a lot of that, as we got on the field here in the last few weeks, showed up, from an overall communication standpoint, from a dependability standpoint of being on the same page. It's so important to the pass game. So I think that we've invested a lot of time together, and I think that's been very important in the progress that we have made. We have a lot of improvement that we still need to make in a lot of different areas, but as long as we're working and trying to be on the same page and do it the way in which we all want it done, I think that we'll, have a chance to have success in the pass game.
Mary Kay Cabot, will go to you.
Coach, has it been difficult at all to get the continuity of your passing game when, Jarvis is in and out, kind of practicing every other practice, and, you haven't had some of the other guys? I know it seems like Odell is kind of limited in team at times. Does that present its own set of challenges that you just haven't really had, every rep that you would want with everybody?
Yeah, I think that the more time and the more opportunities we have together to work on the field, obviously it's beneficial. There's other ways in which we can, make progress in the pass game without having the guys out there every rep. I know we've had a lot of really good quality walkthroughs. We've had great meetings. I think that the times in which we've had all of our guys out there on the field, we've been pleased with the progress they've made. And, there's a plan in place for each individual guy. So I think it's very specific to where we are with each individual person, specifically the receivers, and where their rehabilitation process is and where they are. And we definitely have a plan in place for that. So when they do have the opportunity to be on the field, I've been very pleased with the progress that's been made. We're trying to get on the same page. Again, it's a work in progress. I think it will continue to be. There's obviously been challenges and different circumstances that we've dealt with this year that are all obvious, but that we're not going to use those as excuses. We're going to try to do the best we can when we're out there together to try to get this right.
Thanks.
We'll go to Tony Grossi.
Hey, Chad, did you assess the camp that Donovan Peoples-Jones was at?
Yeah, I think it's a camp that's very similar to a lot of young players in that there's some things that he's making a lot of progress on, and he's doing it exactly the way we want it. And then there's going to be some times where there's not as much consistency as we want. So I think that's true of all young players that try to transition into the National Football League, especially in a very unique year in which we've had, the limited amount of opportunities to go out there together. But I've been pleased with his work ethic, his overall attitude. There's definitely some consistency that I think that all our players right now are working to strive to be better on. I don't think it's just Donovan. I think that each player could all say the same thing, and that there is consistency that needs to be better, and we can do it well one time, but we need to do it that way all the time. So that's how I describe it with Donovan. He's worked hard, he's made progress, he's striving for consistency in his game, just like our other players are.
Thank you.
Marla Ridnour, you're up.
Yeah, Coach, we've heard about how Higgins is doing a good job. Is there anyone else, kind of vying for that number 3 job that is, kind of impressed you?
Yeah, I think our evaluation of that spot on our roster is still ongoing. Certainly, Higgins has done a nice job and been very competitive to try to earn that position. I think there's, a very competitive situation on our roster for that spot. And we have a lot of guys vying for it. And I don't think anything's set in stone. I think the evaluation is still ongoing. We look forward to getting out on the field today, and then getting in the stadium practice would be a great opportunity for some of these guys to be in a different setting. So I think that when you look at that area and those guys that are vying for that position, whether it's Higgins, whether it's Taylor, Damian Ratley's coming off of his, being injured, and he's coming back to the field some. So really, there's a lot of guys that are doing a good job, and I would say the competition is still open.
I know he's not technically your guy, but how does Hunt look as a receiver?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been impressed with him both as a runner and as a pass receiver, as a running back. And we always are going to try to utilize the strengths of our players. And I think we're really fortunate to have a lot of skilled players that do several things really well. And I think that can be said of Hunt in the pass game. I've always, again, been impressed with his ability to catch the ball as a running back. And I've also been impressed with a lot of other skill guys in the multiple things that they can do to help us offensively.
Scott Petrick.
Hey, Coach, what has Jarvis Landry shown you since he's been back in camp and you guys have been able to be together on the field and in the same meeting rooms?
Yeah, I think the one thing Jarvis has shown is that we've made a lot of progress in his rehabilitation. He's somebody that is, had some things done this off season. And I think that he's made progress in that. Every day is better. We have a plan in place for him with the goal being he's playing at a very high level for us. And when he's been out there, he's been very dependable football player. He's been somebody that we can trust to do the right thing. And he's, can play in a multiple position role because he can handle it both mentally and physically. And I think that he provides leadership for this team. I think he's one of our better leaders. Been impressed with him. I'm very fortunate to work with Jarvis, and I really am excited about the progress that he's made daily to get back to where he wants to be as a player.
Do you think he'll be close or at 100% by week 1?
I'll say my comment on that is I really believe he's made progress every day we've gone out there. To say where he's going to be, percentage and all that, I'm not going to comment on that because I really don't know. I do think that I've been encouraged by the progress that he's made, and obviously there's a plan in place for that, and I think he's followed the plan and worked extremely hard to try to be the best he can when we start the season.
Thanks.
Mary Kay Cabot, you're up, and this will be our last question.
Hey, Coach, before Kaderil Hodge went away for a while for a personal reason, he seemed to be really showing up and kind of flashing out there on the field. And I'm just wondering, does he have time to catch back up and kind of really get back into that mix of that third wide receiver competition you're talking about?
Yeah, Kaderil Hodge is somebody that I've been extremely impressed with. I have a great deal of respect for the way he plays the game. The one thing that he's done is he's given himself an opportunity to play multiple positions because he studies hard, he knows what to do, and he's very good mentally. And I think whenever you're a player that's trying to compete for a role on the roster that's a down the line receiver, I think it's very important that you can function in a multiple position role and have value to the team in several different ways. And certainly Hodge has done that so far. He does an excellent job in the run game. I think he's very unselfish as a player. I think he's dependable and detailed. And, you know, I'm very fortunate to have him in the receiver room. And I think he's a good example for our other players of, again, the overall dependability and putting the team first in everything he does.